Thought leadership strategy is so elusive. There are experts all over the world who should be dominating their industry, but they're stuck. Not because they lack expertise, not because they're bad at what they do, but because they're following the wrong strategy. They spend years posting content, trying to grow on social media, or experimenting with ads, or rebranding, or hiring agencies or chasing trends. They're trying to build an audience. And despite all of this effort, they still feel invisible. Now, at the same time, there are other experts quietly building category dominance who have small channels, but they have highly specific content that doesn't go viral. So what's the difference? Why do some experts spin their wheels for years while others systematically become the go-to authority in their space? Well, that's what this episode's about. Most marketing advice today is optimized for attention, more views, more followers, more subscribers, more reach. But if you're building a business around your expertise, then those things are actually the wrong objective. This is because the goal is not attention, the goal is authority, and authority is built very different than social media influence. There is a strategic process behind becoming the recognized thought leader in a category, and that process allows your dream clients to consistently find you, trust you, and eventually hire you. And in this episode, I'm going to break down the complete thought leadership strategy that I use to help experts systematically dominate their category online. Let's dive right in. Everything begins with expertise, but you got to understand that all expertise is not equal. I break expertise into 3 levels. So level 1 is knowledge. You studied the subject, you understand all the concepts, you can talk intelligently about it, but level 2 is application. You've gone into the real world and tested what works, and you failed and adjusted. You've learned nuance. You've achieved success personally. Okay, but level 3 is where thought leadership begins. Level 3 means that you can help someone else achieve that same success. You can guide people through transformation. So point A to point B, you can take them by the hand and help them get there. You can help them overcome problems and achieve real outcomes. This is important because thought leadership is not just built on information, but transformation. People pay for outcomes, not just theory. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is trying to build authority before they've developed enough expertise to genuinely help others. And once you have expertise, the next step is defining the transformation that you create. What specific results do you help people achieve? Or what problem do you solve? What challenge do you help them overcome? And even what does the before and after look like? That's where clarity is really, really critical, because if you can't clearly define that transformation, then your audience won't clearly understand why they need you. A lot of experts make the mistake of focusing too much on their process, their methodology, or their system. But your dream clients care far more about the outcome than your terminology. They want a result. They want relief. They want to achieve success. They want to have that transformation, and that's what your positioning should revolve around. Identifying your dream client is where strategy becomes incredibly important. Not everyone is your audience. And one of the biggest reasons why experts spin their wheels is because they market way too broadly. They try to appeal to everyone, which usually results in connecting deeply with no one. You need clarity around who your dream client is. Who specifically are you trying to help? What are their frustrations? What are their goals? What language do they use? What words do they use? What problems keep them up at night? Now let's talk about search behavior. This is where most marketers completely miss the opportunity. Your dream clients are already online searching for help. They're asking questions. They're looking for solutions. They're going to Google, YouTube, ChatGPT, of course, and search behavior has fundamentally changed how authority is built, People are typing longer and more detailed questions than they ever have before. But this creates an amazing opportunity for experts who are willing to answer those questions strategically. Most creators focus on passive attention, like their feeds, they want to go viral, they want to be recommended. But search intent is very emotionally different. People who search online are emotionally different than passive viewers. A passive viewer watches because something entertained them. Somebody who searches and finds your content watches because they actively need help. And that changes the game. Now you're not just interrupting someone, but you're helping them solve a problem that they've already shown that they care deeply about. Let's talk about positioning. Most people misunderstand it. They think that positioning means, how do I look online? And yes, branding matters, your photography matters, your messaging really matters, professionalism matters, but positioning is also, where do people find you? That's the missing piece. Because if your dream clients are searching online and you're not showing up, then your expertise stays invisible. Strategic positioning means placing your expertise directly in front of people already searching for answers. So this is why thought leadership works so powerfully. You're not chasing random attention, you're becoming discoverable in the exact moment that you're needed. So let's talk about the real meaning of evergreen content. This becomes a critical part of your infrastructure. Most content online has no long-term shelf life. So it'll spike and then it disappears. And creators have to repeat the process over and over again, and it becomes exhausting. Well, evergreen content works differently, completely opposite actually. Evergreen content answers questions that people are continually asking over time. So questions that existed years ago, questions being asked today, and questions that'll still be asked years from now. So when we launch videos on this strategy, the first week, the first month, they don't look very impressive. But when you look at the overall search traffic for your channel, it gets bigger and bigger and becomes a massive fire hose. Search demand continues existing and your content continues working month after month, year after year. This is one of the most important mindset shifts in thought leadership strategy. You're not creating posts, but you're building momentum. You're creating marketing machines for your business. Now, it's important that we talk about category domination. Most experts create content randomly, whatever feels interesting that week, whatever trend is happening, or whenever inspiration strikes. But thought leadership strategy is systematic. You identify a category, and then identify all the important questions that your dream clients are asking within that category. Then you systematically answer those questions one by one until you dominate the topic. If you're a small creator, listen up, because you can actually outperform massive creators, because huge creators often optimize for entertainment and broad attention, but you can optimize for precision. You can answer the highly specific questions that nobody else has bothered to answer. And over time, that will create a fortress of authority for you. One of the biggest mistakes that businesses make is promoting too early. People don't want to be sold, especially online. That's why educational content can be so powerful. Educational content builds trust before the promotion. When someone repeatedly finds your content helping them, then trust will compound naturally. They learn your philosophy, your perspective, they understand your expertise, and they even learn your biases. And over time, they begin to imagine what it would be like to work with you. So this really creates what I call referral quality leads. The leads are warm before the conversation ever starts. The relationship was built through content before promotion. Now, once people trust you, the next step is nurturing. Many businesses will drop the ball. They create content, but they don't build a bridge into a deeper relationship or even to any conversation. So you need a system for continued engagement. You need to nurture your email list. You need to have a lead magnet to transfer views into leads. I recommend webinars. I highly recommend strategy sessions and having conversations. The goal needs to be to move the anonymous viewer into a trusted relationship. Because these people discovered you through search and your educational content, then the quality of the conversations will be dramatically higher. There's going to be less skepticism, less resistance, but more trust. in shorter sales cycles, better clients. Most experts will never experience this because they skip steps. They focus on branding without positioning. They focus on going viral and not building authority. They focus on attention instead of trust. They focus on promotion instead of building a relationship. Or they create content based on what they want to say instead of what their dream clients want them to say. So they end up spinning their wheels and just wasting all this effort, not building any momentum. Now let's talk about the difference between the momentum that I'm discussing and going viral. Virality creates spikes, and that can seem good, but it can actually hurt you. On the other hand, category ownership really creates this infrastructure of momentum. Virality is going to attract really broad audiences, but category ownership attracts narrow niche dream clients. Virality will create temporary attention, while category ownership will create long-term authority. Now, this is one of the biggest mindset shifts that you're going to have to make, because the goal is not attention, the goal is authority. Authority will compound. Authority builds trust. It creates discoverability, and it will generate referral quality leads for years. What happens when someone follows this strategy for several years? Well, they stop chasing clients. Their category begins sending clients to them organically. Their content compounds. Their authority compounds. Their discoverability just increases, and their business becomes increasingly stable and predictable. And eventually, you're no longer feeling invisible. You become the obvious authority in your category. That's the real power of this thought leadership strategy. Now, if you want to learn the complete system that I teach on how to identify the right category, gain traction through this evergreen content, systematically own your niche, and become the ultimate go-to authority in your space, I want to invite you to attend my webinar. It's called Thought Leader Dominance. In this hour-long training, I break down the exact process for building authority through search-based positioning, evergreen infrastructure, and relationship-driven lead generation. You can register for the webinar if you go to theleafstrategy.com. Experts who succeed long-term are not the loudest. They're the ones who become undeniable in their category. I'll see you there.